You know, the senior class is unique. You know, the number 3 seniors, I guess itself is unique, a very small amount of people. We ran into a couple of great recruiting classes 2 years prior to this particular group. And it was as a result of our new track just being installed. So we hit the recruiting bonanza for 2 years in a row when people came to UMass to see the new track and run on the new track. And our roster got so large at some particular point we kind of had to put the brakes on. We had to limit our recruiting in terms of numbers. And these guys were with a group of a handful of much more select group of kids. And they had, in one respect, they paid the price because when they came in, the depth was a little bit lower. They didn't have as many freshman people to train with. But they got some great leadership from the older kids who passed before them. Many of those older leaders that came back, they were a great crowd of alumnus returned for this meet. The best ever by far. And I think it's something that they know should be fun, but once you get involved in it with our alumni group, it's a real home group. They just do so much for each other. Well, one of the things that happened when these new guys came in, there was only 4 or 5 of them. The older guys took them under their wing. So instead of having an older brother on the team when you come in, you had 5 older brothers because there was only 4 or 5 of you. And I think the leadership that the older guys showed to this group of guys, to Conor and to Paul Grafov and to AJ, they got so much attention from so many older brothers that they knew it was important. And then they've been working, although there's only been 3 of them, they've been working like gangbusters to take 3 guys and make that love and leadership go out to another larger sophomore and freshman class, which came up behind them. So they've been actually what you call super team leaders because they've had to take care of 6 or 7 kids apiece, and they've done a great job. We didn't vote for captains because we didn't really need to vote for captains. We had 3 guys. We had 3 great leaders, so it was just a unanimous guys who have acted like a team captain all the way through their junior year and senior year. And I know everybody who's on the team now is going to remember a whole bunch of things that these guys taught them about the university, college track and field, academics, and all kinds of personal situations. So we really owe this group a debt of gratitude. They never shied away from the commitment of trying to spend more time with 5 or 6 people. They embraced it. They worked the drills with everybody. They made sure they were supervised. They were like, there were 3 seniors, there were 3 leaders, and honestly, there were 3 coaches on the field. Coach Jackson and I were going to be doing someplace else. We didn't need to turn around and look around and see if they were supervised. These guys it was like a whole coaching staff for this particular year, and we owe them a large debt of gratitude. And I'm sure they're going to come back. I'm sure the guys on the future teams are going to really love seeing them come back. So it's one of those situations where, as coaches, sometimes we'll see a young guy and we'll find a way in our own mind to maybe find a place for them on our team that might have been different than the place they had on other teams, and their high school teams, and most notably. So Conor came in, and he was a pretty good high school hurdler, very good, but he also was a very good athlete. And Coach Jackson started working with them, and recognizing that we had a smaller freshman group, Conor kind of started delving into 2 or 3 or 4 events because, number one, he had done them a little bit in high school, but his all-around hurling ability allowed him to be a good jumper, pretty good speed. So he ran the 400 hurdles, he did the long jump, and he eventually did the heptathlon and the decathlon. So he was one of those guys who embraced several events. I think, like you said, he's probably competed in every event except the marathon and steeplechase in college track and field. And he's picked up points in multi-events. He's picked up points individually with one of his multi-event skills, like the javelin or the shot put or the long jump. So, number one, he's embraced it, and the other kids see that he embraces it and works at it. And number 2, it's like having 5 Conors. Although we only have 1 guy, we've got 4 other ones that just happen to have a different name on there. So he's shown up in 4 or 5 different events, and he becomes very versatile because of that. And then he can work with the other kids in 4 or 5 different events. I mean, he's not a great discus thrower, but being a multi-event kid, he learns the discus. So while he's working out with the discus throwers, he's learning from them, but he's motivating the discus throwers as well. AJ is very similar. AJ basically is more of a specialist. He's a high jumper. Started out doing some triple jumping and long jumping. But he's one of those guys who's a go-around guy. He's always going around and finding a hot spot, finding a kid who needs some help. If he's specializing in the high jump and working on that, and then when he did the triple jump, he was a demon in the weight room. So he's a guy who extends himself out not just through his events, but to other eventers. And he's one of those guys who drives people hard. And, everybody needs that once in a while when they're tired. And AJ's one of those very vocal and verbal leaders and has done that for us. Paul's, I kind of call him the baby-faced assassin. He looks like your younger brother who's still in, I don't know, embarrass the poor guy, but who's still in the 9th grade, but he's a killer. He's a killer when the gun goes off. If he gets a baton in his hand, he can run the 100, he runs the 200, he runs the 4x4, they run the 4x1 all year long. You can plug him in any leg of the relay. You can plug him in on anything from 100 to, I tried to get him to run the 800, but he won't do it. But, the 100 to the 600, and he can score. He's a baby-faced guy with a mean streak when the gun goes off. And then he smiles after it's all over. So if you're an opponent, Paul Grafov, don't mistake the look that he has in between events. He'll cut your eyes out when the gun goes off. So that attitude, you always need to have someone with that kind of a killer instinct on your team. And he's a quiet killer, like I said, a baby-faced assassin. So we're going to miss that. And I've got my eyes on a couple of people that I'm hoping I can groom to replace him, but that would be very, very difficult.